right, well, good Sunday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Shelden Breshears here, checking in, of course, waking up after our winter storm. The good news is I think we can generally say that we're on the backside of this system now. It's going to be obviously cold out there. We're going to be getting out this morning to see just how much snow is on the ground, of course. So we're going to be looking forward to getting a lot of reports. We already have some. We already have several reports from around the region. So we're going to be looking forward to gathering those up just to see how much snow everyone got. But of course, this is your Sunday morning first alert weather update, where of course, like I said, now we kind of recap the event that was and see how things are shaping up here as we head on into your Sunday, because now I think we're officially turning that corner. Often our southern counties might get another last shot at getting a little bit of moisture, but we'll circle back to that here in a little bit. Let's take a look at how things are shaping up around the region as we start out your morning. The sun's coming up. We're getting a pretty good picture of what's happening literally out there. This is a live look at Bushland this morning, looking at Bushland Road and I-40. We're seeing traffic moving pretty good there along I-40, but you can see Bushland Road definitely looks a little bit on the slick side, as we are going to be seeing, a little bit of a snow-packed road right there. Looking, of course, downtown Amarillo, and that's what you'll see kind of below me on your frame right there. We'll have that going steadily, of course, on our Sky Tracker cameras from around the region. That's the I-40, I-27 interchange. Of course, I drove that last about 11 o'clock last night. It was a little bit snowy out there, but does look like maybe roadways not in too bad of conditions. And the thing you can glean from all of these that we're seeing right now is that visibility is not an issue. So that's the good news as well, is there's not really any part of the region that's seeing visibility being a significant hindrance to your Sunday morning. So, of course, there's a lot of churches that are closed here early this morning. If you're curious if yours is one of them, make sure to go to NewsChannel10.com. We have your latest list of closures there. Of course, you can expect alerts on your News Channel 10 News app, your News Channel 10 Weather app as well. That will be a great place to get some of that latest information. So, of course, stay tuned to those resources for the latest on any closings, business closings. Of course, we've got some alerts of maybe some changes to Monday school schedules as well. That NewsChannel10.com, that's going to be the best place to do that. But looking up in Guyman, up in the Oklahoma Panhandle out there this morning, we're seeing generally sunshine out there. We're starting to see those clouds really clearing out. That's probably one of the first places that we're seeing those clouds really kind of start to break a little bit, allowing a little more sunshine to break through. So now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of take a tour around the area with some of our other Sky Tracker cameras. Of course, we've got access to a great network with our Sky Tracker cameras at News Channel 10, as well as a bunch with our friends over at Pantex. So if we want to go ahead and start clicking through those, we've got some, postcard worthy pictures that we are seeing around the region. So we're going to start up in Texline. Of course, this was one of the first places we saw a lot of that snow. Of course, it quit a little bit earlier, but did see several rounds right there. And obviously, you can see those school vans have got a nice layer of snow on them as well. Rooftops, the grass, just everything is pretty much covered with snow right now. If we keep on working our way through the region here, you can see Friona. We'll start off towards the southwest, down off Highway 60. This is one we watched a lot last night as we saw those last couple of rounds really start to push through. That parking lot is pretty much covered there in snow. The street out there as well doesn't like anybody's really been out and about because, well, generally we're not really seeing any, tire tracks through the road. So things look all quiet there up in Friona. Let's see what else we have here. You got Hereford, just up Highway 60, just a little bit there. You can see, of course, the taller grass picking up through the grass, but picking up through the snow there a little bit rather. But we've got some really good postcard-worthy shots from Hidden Falls Ranch and Paladro Canyon. I believe those might be the next ones that are queued up right now. Those, look at that right there. That is just really what we love to see. Of course, after a snow, as the clouds are starting to break, we're seeing the sun come up right now. That shot from Hidden Falls Ranch is a beautiful one as we're seeing that snow, of course, sticking to the ground right there. Still waiting on some reports from down that direction. Haven't heard anything official just yet. We've got the floor of Paladro Canyon as well. Another just stunning shot right there as the walls of the canyon just blanketed in snow. That's something we love to see. And the good news about this event is that generally we were seeing, of course, just the snow was mostly straight down. It'd come in at an angle. Sometimes it was a little bit breezy, but thankfully it wasn't a major wind event, so we didn't see a lot of drifting. We didn't see a lot of areas where that snow would drift, and some places would, all the moisture would be piled up somewhere rather than kind of evenly distributed along the ground. Where with this one, it seems pretty generally that snow fell evenly across a lot of the area. So what moisture did fall, that's going to soak into the moisture, and that, of course, will be extremely beneficial. That's Highland Park right there. That's kind of looking back up towards the airport. You can see those steam plants off in the distance right there. Of course, visibility pretty good up here. You can kind of see towards the airport there, those water towers. Visibility is certainly pretty clear. When we left last night, you couldn't see that one anymore. They're off in the distance. You can see right there circling it with the mouse. So if we want to keep trucking here through these shots, And I do see some comments in here already asking about if this is all the snow that we're going to be getting. I think right now, yes. And we're going to dive into model data here in just a little bit. We're going to go through these cameras, kind of take a look at where we're at now, and then we'll continue to kind of go through the timeline. We'll look at where things are at outside, and then, of course, we're going to continue to see what's ahead in the future, as most of the area is done with snow, but there might be some places that still see a little bit. So those of you asking in the comments, we will be getting to that here in probably just a couple of minutes. But that's Fritch Highway right there. Of course, you can see maybe one lane is kind of slightly open on that one. We also have a couple of cameras along that road network. You can kind of pick out that rut on the roadway. We also have one on 136 as well there in southern Hutchinson County. This is a beautiful shot out there. Got those colors with the sunrise outside right now. You can see, of course, roadways probably in a similar shape compared to what we saw there just over on the Fritch Highway as well. So continue to go through those cameras now, working our way off towards the east. You're going to be seeing right there, that's Panhandle. Those trains are still stopped out there. Of course, those crop circles. Like I said, it's just a nice even blanket of snow across the area. And so we really, really like to see that. What else have we got in terms of those cameras? It's going to keep taking a look through here. What we've got around the region, got a couple more to go through. Border there, a beautiful sight. Looks like clouds are starting to break up there as well. Generally, the good rule of thumb is the further north you are, the quicker you're going to see sunshine going into this afternoon, and that will allow for slightly warmer temperatures. It's still going to be cold out there, but not quite as cold as we have been. The further south, the heavier snowpack, and of course, the later sunshine coming out. That's going to kind of delay that warming period. Like Childress here. This is a great example of it. Still pretty much clouded over. You can see traffic moving down 287 there. Might be seeing some slick conditions there along 287 from Childress up through, of course, Claude up into Amarillo when we were monitoring TxDOT road conditions yesterday. That stretch of 287 there was generally one where it was yellow a lot of the time. Where green is good, yellow maybe a little bit sketchy there. So we see Anthony here asking roads to Claude. We don't have official information on that right now, but I would certainly just expect as you get out this morning to be ready to take it a little bit slow, because there's going to be some things that kind of hinder, of course, that good traffic flow. But look at that shot from Follett up in the far northeastern county. I think that's saving one of the best for last right there. As you can see the sun rising there up in the northeast. I mean, that is a beautiful shot right there. As you can see, roads in okay shape right now. We saw a car drive through just a little bit ago. So generally what we're seeing there across the region, I mean, like you saw, there wasn't a single camera we just went through on our Sky Tracker camera that didn't have snow on it. So just about everybody saw snow to some degree. Some, of course, certainly more so than others. But of course, like I said, we're generally kind of done with this event. So if you didn't get as much as you wanted, unfortunately, I think we're not really adding much more on, like I said, depending on what part of the region you are in. So if we look to our regional satellite and radar, of course, you'll still see a broad sweeping system is kind of often generally kind of the east right now. We are looking at, of course, a still widespread kind of winter storm type event out here as you're seeing that wintry mix, that ice, the rain moving through the south with snow still going up through places like Illinois up into Indiana. You'll see things are tapering off in Oklahoma already. And then we have this little bit right here. This is a last little push. And this little snow that we're kind of seeing off towards the southwest, not really looking at much in the way of accumulations from that. Right now, the National Weather Service is saying maybe another inch added on. I would say a lot of places this is going to just generally be lighter snow because the general flow of the jet stream right now is kind of following this trajectory right here. And so obviously you're going to notice that on this kind of trajectory, you really want to be in this part of like the dip of the jet stream. Over here, obviously, there's not quite as much going on, so it really depends on where you're at. But this is as, of course, that system is generally moving this direction right now. So, of course, the further it goes that way, the more so that we're going to be just generally out of this system. So we're going to see right here, we're going to clear that off. You're going to see generally drier air is moving in for us. So we'll zoom into the News Channel 10 viewing area. We're still seeing some possibility of some light flurries across generally the southern half of the area. This is looking, you'll see down around Portales, still seeing some good snow down there. I'll be waiting for some reports on that. I was hearing around 4 inches late last night. But we're going to back this up to about 9:30-ish or so last night. This is kind of what you were seeing last time we checked in with you on stream. You can kind of see right there. One of the things Dave and I were talking about, what we were really going to be watching very closely was this. Was this going to fill in, and was Amarillo going to get another round? Well, unfortunately, if you're waking up this morning, we did not get that extra round, at least here in Amarillo. But across the south, snow showers did continue. We'll fast forward through about the 10, 11 o'clock hour. You'll see Amarillo was kind of seeing maybe some light flurries. It did kind of back build in just a little bit right around midnight, 1 a.m. But right there, it looks like right around 2 o'clock in the morning, things finally kind of broke, and that was kind of the last of the snow showers. We got a report from Wyatt, our engineer up here at News Channel 10. He wrote it out last night. He says right around 2 o'clock in the morning is when snow stopped at our News Channel 10 studios. So that's pretty much fitting with what we're seeing on radar. Southern half of the area still seeing some scattered snow showers. And then early this morning, that puts us right about to where we are at right now. So looking at Doppler radar, we're going to kind of pan in here on the southwest. So right there, you're seeing that's where the heaviest bits of snow are right now. Maybe a few little spotty bands moving into northern Roosevelt County. You're going to be seeing right there, southern Roosevelt County, that's our heaviest band. That's pushing in right there. I'll bring up my pointer here. You can see right there, that's where that heaviest bit of snow is certainly going to be, and of course that's tracking off towards the east. It's not taking that southwest to northeast trajectory that we saw yesterday because, of course, as we established, the upper level steering flow is kind of doing this. So if we apply that logic to it, well, this snow is going to be kind of doing this right here. It's not going to be coming up this direction like it did last night, unfortunately, because we're just not in the right place of that low pressure system anymore. We're just simply, as it moves off towards the east, we become in a less favorable position. So because of that, the National Weather Service office in Amarillo has canceled the winter storm warning for Amarillo and the northern Texas panhandle. So that was originally going to be in effect until about noon today. Right now, that has been canceled prematurely because simply, obviously, we're not seeing conditions that warrant a winter storm warning. So the good news is if you're kind of along that line of Hereford through Clarendon and north of that line, maybe we'll see a few flurries this morning, but we're not going to be seeing any more intense snow like we did for yesterday. But our southern two rows of counties, that includes Curry and Roosevelt counties off in eastern New Mexico, that winter storm warning is still in effect until about noon today. And right now the phrase from the National Weather Service says just kind of ongoing snow, maybe upwards of another inch on top of what you've already seen. So there still is a potential for some additional snowfall here as we move on into the rest of your Sunday. So what we're going to do is fast forward our model run here. You're going to be seeing right there that snow kind of moves straight west to the east. Maybe a few little scattered light snow showers. You'll notice past that, by the time we get into this afternoon, this is 2 o'clock, you're going to be noticing that we've already broke our clouds here in Amarillo. We're going to be seeing sunshine come through. Those clouds are kind of along Highway 60 and south of that line with a few little scattered snow showers, maybe favoring down towards Lubbock. Of course, we haven't seen any totals from them just yet, but we'll be working on compiling those here as we go throughout the rest of your Sunday. But right there, we start to kind of clear up. And then models are trying to hint at a few flurries. You're going to see that right there going into Sunday night. This is tonight into tomorrow morning. Models have started to pick up on this, kind of coming in out of the northwest on the backside of the system. Basically what's happening, and you've heard David explain this before, is you do get times where our air is just simply so cold it has to just squeeze that moisture out of the atmosphere. Whatever moisture is there, it's going to crystallize, it's going to fall. If any of this does come to fruition, we're going to generally be seeing probably very light flurries, very minor accumulation. So when I say we're done with the snow, we're just done with the really significant snow that, of course, we've prepped for from this past weekend. So that absolutely not out of the question going into this evening and tonight, but we're really looking at pretty minor impacts. It's not like we're looking at several inches being added on to, of course, what we've already seen. So some preliminary reports from around the region. These are just what we've gotten from the National Weather Service and viewers like you around the region. So if you do have reports at home, send them in to us. We want to see because, of course, we can glean a lot from radar, but nothing beats a good old-fashioned ground report. So here in Amarillo, the total from the National Weather Service is about 3.4 inches of snow, which is really pretty good. Of course, we do know those totals trended down. Originally in the event, we were looking at about 5 to 10 inches, but as we've gotten closer, of course, to what we saw for Friday into Saturday, we were kind of starting to see those signals that those totals were probably going to come down just a little bit. Disappointing, of course, but of course, that's just, we know what the models show us. We go with that, and generally we see those lower totals. So, of course, we're going to generally glean what we can from the models. We saw all the signs fall into place to see generally lower totals, but still 3.4 inches is certainly good. I wouldn't say it was a whiff by any stretch of the imagination. Amarillo still got good moisture. As a matter of fact, we were able to get about 3/10 of moisture out of this particular system, which was actually a new daily record for this past Saturday. So of course the 24th here in Amarillo, we got 3/10 of moisture out of that 3.4 inches of snow. So, of course, brand new record. That's, of course, always a good thing. Anytime we can break a moisture record, that's always something to be excited about. Some of the big totals from around the area as well. Wheeler, I saw a report about 4.5 inches. We did get a viewer last night report about 5.5 inches around the Farwell and Texaco area, right there on the New Mexico-Texas state line. Wellington with about 3 inches. You can see Fritch with about 1.8 inches. And then Higgins and Beaver both reported about 2 inches of snowfall there. So really seeing some good totals around the area. And like I said, these are all preliminary. We'll get updated and official numbers as we go throughout the weekend. Of course, Doppler Dave is going to be on the evening shows. You can expect to see a few Facebook Lives from him. Not full-blown, streams. He'll probably go live from his house, show you what's happening in his neighborhood in Amarillo. And then, of course, the evening shows at about 5:30 and 10 o'clock tonight. He will have, of course, some more official totals for you there. But let's talk temperatures. So now the thing is out, the snow's moving on out of the region. We're seeing just cold temperatures sticking around. That cloud cover overnight kept us really pretty well stable on the temperatures. We dropped down to about 4 o'clock yesterday evening, and, well, we stayed there all of the night. We did kind of dip back up to 5 to 6 degrees, and, well, as we're starting out your Saturday morning, if you are going to be heading out and about, it's still pretty cold out there. Make no mistake about that, as we're looking at 5 degrees here in Amarillo right now. You're seeing a lot of single digits, maybe some tens. Right now, Tucumcari in the teens, but this is not factoring in for wind chill right now. If we factor in the wind chill, we're seeing negative 11. So, of course, that extreme cold warning that's in effect right now, it's in effect until about noon. That is for wind chills as low as negative 15. So we're still absolutely within that realm here as we start out your morning. So still very dangerously cold out there. But like I said, the good news is we're not looking to really be adding on to anything. Winds are still out of the north, about 5 to 15 miles an hour. Nothing really too dramatic there. If we take a look at the rest of the region, we're looking at 5 degrees. There's here in Amarillo. You can see where those skies cleared in Dodge City. That's what it does for you when the skies cleared out. You got that dry air already in place. Those temperatures really have the potential to plummet. And right now, you're seeing about 7 degrees below zero. Now, yesterday, if you watched our stream, we were also talking about just how much colder we were than Angel Fire. The cold air got to Angel Fire finally, and they're currently sitting at 1 degree. So there you go. So the mountains of New Mexico are finally colder than Amarillo, Texas. But you'll see 13 down in Midland. You've got 34. They're just right on the verge of freezing down in Houston right now. So I know that's certainly setting off some alarm bells there for our friends down off around the Texas coast, because that is extremely cold weather out there. So generally, what we're seeing here with this particular event, like I said, the snow is generally over. The cold is sticking around for right now. So we're going to take a look at our temperatures, how we're expecting them to change here for your Sunday. Looks like we get up to about 14 degrees by lunchtime today. We only have maybe another hour or two of warming before we see the end of our warming period today. Might be getting in low 20s, high teens out there. Of course, that snowpack can certainly play a factor in that. Off towards the southeast, of course, where that heavier snow is, that's where you're seeing those temperatures kind of hanging around the low 20s, high teens out there. But the further north you are, you've got more sunshine and you've got a little less snow on the ground. So therefore, those temperatures get just a little bit warmer. But, of course, we're getting ready for Monday. A lot of kiddos going back to school. If we don't have any cancellations there, you're going back to work. You got to prep for some cold right there, because overnight lows look to drop down Sunday night to Monday. Could be down as cold as 5 degrees below zero. So we're looking at some pretty sharp cold air to start to kind of push into the region, and that's not even factoring in the wind chills. So for today, we're going to be seeing those wind chills finally get back to zero. We'll get those temperatures to break even right around noon today. Of course, this is your feels like temperature out there. And then you're seeing about 14 degrees by 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then overnight, Sunday night rather, into Monday, could get those wind chills as low as negative 16 degrees. So looks like really after today, we're really kind of primarily shifting our focus, of course, to the cold that we're going to be seeing here. I'm going to pull up our reported totals real quick, and I'm going to double check our comments here, see what questions anybody has. But really the purpose of this was to kind of just jump in real quick, kind of give you an update as to what happened, and then of course break down what to expect. We'll kind of go through a couple of those one more time. I'm going to address some comments here real quick, and then we'll continue to track through here. A lot of folks saying good morning. We got good morning there from Rowdy from Silverton. Oh, okay, there we go. We'll come back to that here in just a second. All right, so what we got right here. We got Andrew here asking if we think that's going to be the biggest event of the winter. I mean, it could be, but of course, we still have a lot of winter time left. We got the rest of January. We got all of February. I mean, a fun fact for you, I think you have to go all the way back to the 1930s, but Amarillo's biggest single-day snow event happened on March 25th into March 26th of 1934, I believe, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. So that's the thing, is our biggest snow event in history in Amarillo happened in mid to late March. So, I mean, it could be our biggest snow event. Of course, we'll have to wait till the end of winter time to really know for sure if that's going to be the case. Maybe we get another strong snow system in here. You'll also be seeing there below me on your screen going through a couple of sunrises. Of course, a big credit, shout out to our engineer Kyle. He's getting those cameras set up for us. We'll be coming back to those on the big screen here in just a moment. Let's see what else we got here. All right, what other questions? Oh, there we go. Robin, here reporting 8 inches in Tulia. Thank you, Robin, for your report. That's the one kind of piece we were missing from this morning. Wanted to know what we got down in Tulia because that looked like a place that certainly got slammed just through most of your day on Saturday and, of course, into last night. So thank you, Robin, for your report. 8 inches in Tulia. So glad to hear that. That's a good snow total out there. Glad to hear what that, of course, panned out for y'all. So there's Facebook comments. Let's see what YouTube has for us. We got Renee here asking what the roads are like. Of course, let's just go back to our cameras here. If Kyle's good to go with our cameras, I'm going to just pull that up. And I say we just cycle through them here a little bit and kind of see what sunrises look like around the region because the sun's coming up. We're getting a look at some road conditions as well. As you can see right there, that's Buchanan Street. I mean, you got, I say really probably Amarillo's in mostly good shape, as you can see looking up and down Buchanan. Probably got enough ruts. Of course, you don't want to go too fast. You don't want to turn too quickly. Roads could get a little bit slick there for sure. But let's bring back to that sunrise real quick. I want to look at that as well. A lot of your side roads, those cross streets, are probably going to be in more shape than those, well-traveled roads. I did drive I-27 to Washington last night. It was a little slick. I had to go about maybe 40, 45 miles an hour, but it wasn't just terrible. I would hope that it's a little bit better out there this morning. But you'll see right there, we're already starting to break clouds here in Amarillo, so that's some good news there. Let's keep just flipping through those cameras because that's a beautiful shot right there, and I'm sure we have no shortage. I mean, it is Texas Panhandle after all. I think we specialize in beautiful sunrises here. There's Guyman, of course, seeing your roadways there. So those of you wondering what roads look like as we click through these, most of these cameras have a view of a road. This is Bushland. That's looking at I-40, of course. That's kind of pointing kind of off towards the southeast towards Amarillo. Of course, your westerly lanes are coming towards the camera. So it looks like traffic flowing okay. Anytime you can look at roads after a snow event and see the tarmac, see the asphalt, that's always a good sign. That shows that roads are looking pretty good. There you go, Teresa asking half an inch. If you want to reply to that comment, Teresa, tell us exactly where you're at. You don't have to tell your exact address, of course, but tell us kind of generally, are you in Amarillo? Are you where you at? About a half an inch wherever you're at. We got Robert here asking if I prefer tracking snowstorms or severe storms. I think I got to go with severe storms on that one. Severe storms are pretty exciting. Snow events are tricky. What I tell people when, everyone's asking us, what these winter storms are going to do, I mean, winter weather is probably one of the trickiest things to forecast because there's just minor little changes that can happen with the setup of the atmosphere that can either make or break. Of course, we've seen that here in the Texas Panhandle. We've seen times where we're forecasting snow, the day finally comes, and then just nothing happens. We've seen other times where, it looks to be a mild event, and then next thing you know, we see, buckets of snow dumping on the ground. So winter weather can be really frustrating at times from a forecaster's perspective because there's just little things that can change the forecast immensely. So I personally would rather track severe storms. It's a little more exciting. Of course, there's so many little things that happen with those as well that kind of bring their own frustrations. Nothing is perfect, of course, with weather forecasting. But generally, I prefer severe storms. Winter storms, they're just a whole other beast entirely as they're such slow events. And of course, there's minor little changes. It's hard to have high confidence in them. But of course, like I said, originally we were saying about 5 to 10 inches around much of the Panhandle, which we've gotten. I'd say right now our general totals are somewhere around maybe 2 to about 8. So it came in just a little bit underneath, but still several inches. It's a beautiful shot right there. That looks to be Lake Meredith, I believe. Beautiful shot right there. So that's the thing is we're already starting to break those clouds up around a lot of the region. And so, of course, as that's happening, that's where we're just generally starting to see the clouds break up. That sunshine's going to come out, but still today, maybe teens and 20s because the thing is we have something what's called albedo. There's your $5 weather term of the day, which is how much of the surface reflects. Of course, and then our other word is insolation, not insulation. Insolation is incoming solar radiation. So with that, you have the sun beating down on the surface. On a typical day, we've got just exposed ground. That sun hits the surface. It kind of absorbs. It heats the air around it. We get those nice warm temperatures we're used to here in the Texas Panhandle. But snow, of course, has a high albedo, which it reflects a lot of that sunlight back and doesn't give that sunlight a chance to absorb into the atmosphere. And, well, temperature is going to stay cooler. So if you've got a pretty solid snowpack, it's just going to be harder for, of course, that air to warm up. Let's see if we got some steam on the water here. We saw some steamy shots there of Lake Meredith. You can see a little bit of steam out there right now. I mean, look at that. You can see a little bit out there. We were joking yesterday. You want to talk about the most dramatic of polar plunges that you can imagine. That would be one there. I would highly recommend against it. I don't think it would be a very fun time to go jump into those waters right now, but you can kind of see some of that steam there coming off the water. We got somebody here asking about reports of Canyon and Amarillo. I did see a report, a viewer report of about close to about 4 inches down in Canyon. Our official number for Amarillo, which of course is taken at the Weather Service office, which is right up just near Rick Husband International Airport, was 3.4 inches. So that's what's going to go on the books for Amarillo. I think there's certainly going to be some places in town that probably saw upwards of 4 inches, at least here in the city and surrounding regions. Of course, those higher totals are generally further south and east. So if you're on the southeast side of the city, maybe you're seeing 4 or even more than that in some places. You got some sunshine there breaking up in the north, looking beautiful there up in text line. So let's see here. Let's give another quick overview of some comments here. See how things are shaping up. Of course, so there's our looks of cameras around the area. Let's take one last look at Hidden Falls and Paladero Canyon, because those are postcards right there. Those are Texas Panhandle postcards if I've ever seen. I mean, look at that. That's Hidden Falls Ranch right there. I mean, beautiful shots right there. The sun's starting to beat down on that snow. That is just gorgeous. Those clouds are starting to break a little bit. I mean, overall makes for a beautiful morning to enjoy. And of course, I want to reiterate, if you're wondering about any church business closings, anything like that, newschannel10.com is going to be the place to go for that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pan down here real quick. We're going to go to our radar here right now. We're going to look at our last couple hours. We're going to see where things are at right now. And then, of course, we'll look through your model run about maybe one more time here before we go ahead and start to wrap things up, maybe here in the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. But right now, Roosevelt County, you guys are still seeing some good snowfall there. And then maybe a few little light flurries that are being seen kind of off in the kind of far west, southwestern Texas Panhandle. So I don't think it's completely impossible for Amarillo to maybe not squeeze out a few more flurries here for this morning. So when I say we're done with our snow event, it doesn't mean just sunshine. You're not going to see any more snow. I think a few snowflakes could absolutely fall, because with snow events, it doesn't even necessarily have to show up on radar for you to see at least a few snowflakes falling out of the sky. But that heavier stuff, that's going to be down here off in the southern ends of the Texas Panhandle, of course, down around eastern New Mexico. So let's flip through that high definition model run here real quick. You're going to see right there that snow is going to push in from kind of the southwest, and our southern counties may be still seeing another round or two. So, of course, we want to reiterate that winter storm warning is still in effect for our southern 2 rows of counties. That's until noon Texas time right there. For right now, the phrasing they're using at the Weather Service office is accumulations of up to 1 more inch. I would say maybe a couple tenths will probably be what we expect there. Amarillo, Potter, and Randall counties everywhere up to the north, no longer under any at least snow-related watches or warnings. We do have an extreme cold warning, and then the light blue up in the northwest is a cold weather advisory, where wind chills should be down below 0 here for the bulk of the day today, and then we'll see more wind chills down below 0 going into tomorrow as well. So coverage plan here for the rest of your Sunday here. Of course, wanted to hop on here real quick for this morning for a quick kind of recap right now of what we're seeing out there. I do see Kelly here asking about heading to Lubbock. How are the roads? I mean, I-27 from Amarillo to Canyon, that was an area that saw probably the most snow. We saw that report of 8 inches down in Tulia, right there along I-27. So I would definitely take caution on I-27. We don't have any confirmed reports of what things look like, but on the TxDOT maps yesterday, they were generally yellow, which means the traffic's moving a little bit slower. I would definitely be ready for that trip to take longer, if not maybe get a little bit, treacherous at times. Not, of course, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life, but we are definitely seeing the potential for some snow-covered roads there along I-27 down to Lubbock. So if you do head down that direction, just be prepared for it to take you a little bit longer, and of course for things to be moving just a little bit slower. Got some folks saying good Sunday morning. Carol, good morning to you as well. Let's see what else we've got here. Tansy here did report that her son just went out. He was averaging around 50-something miles an hour, but of course, like I said, just depends on what roads you've got wherever you're at. So, want to reiterate, of course, we're kind of wrapping up this first alert weather event. I'm going to kind of cap things off here for this morning. Expect to see some updates on Facebook, all of our social media channels, as we go throughout the rest of the day. Doppler Dave is going to be on kind of right around, 5:36-ish. Of course, comes down to, there's going to be some sports on, so, of course, our broadcasting will adjust based on that. And then 10 o'clock tonight, he will be on, be recapping things as well. But I want to reiterate, it's one of those things where a lot of folks are probably going to be disappointed with 3.4 inches of snow, and that's okay. I was personally hoping we were going to get a little bit more as well. But generally, as we got closer and through the event, we started to see model data that started to kind of back those totals down a little bit. So originally, we were thinking about 5 to 10, but once we kind of took into account the other factors, of course, in true scientific, ways, we adjust our expectations based on the information we're getting in. And so we saw indications later on into the event that we were going to see less totals. Now, personally, like I said, I would have liked more than a couple more inches than the 3.4 we got, but 3.4 is still pretty good. And if you watched any of our streams last night, some of our broadcasts, we were still keeping things within that realm of possibility. 3 inches was not something that necessarily surprised us. We saw close to 8 inches down in Tulia. I think that's between 5 and 10 that we were expecting, especially because, you watch any of our previous broadcasts, we've always been generally expecting the southern half of the area to kind of be the bullseye for that. We hoped Amarillo would have been in it a little bit quicker, but for the most part, we still got several inches of snow. We've got 3/10 of moisture going into the ground, so I'm by no means disappointed with this event because we still got some moisture. Conditions were still treacherous, and that's what these First Alert streams are really all about. That's what we do here at News Channel 10, our First Alert weather team. Of course, we have what we do on broadcast and on TV for y'all each and every single day, so you're going to see Doppler Dave and I continue to do that. But in these significant events, winter storms, severe weather, wildfires, wind events, we want to do streams like this online so we can give you all the available resources, whether you're in front of a TV or not. So we do appreciate you, the viewers at home, because you guys are the ones who make this possible here for us. And of course, we do this for you. We want to keep you informed. We don't want to be just sending folks out onto the roads if they're a little bit treacherous. So that's what we're here for, is of course here to keep you informed. And of course, I want to give a shout out to our crews at News Channel 10. Of course, our ace engineers, we got Kyle, Wyatt, Alex, Scotty, all those guys really helping make everything run smoothly. Our production crews at News Channel 10 as well, our on-air staff, everybody, our digital staff really came together to make for a great event. Of course, just really, coming together, a good team effort. And like I said, all the work you see put into this is what creates the product that you're seeing here right now. And so, of course, expect more coverage like this as we go on into 2026. We're going to cover any significant weather event. And of course, our news department's going to stay on top of breaking news as well. So if you want to know the latest on any closings around the area, whether that be churches, schools, businesses, anything, go to newschannel10.com. And of course, if you haven't, download our First Alert Weather app as well as our News Channel 10 News app. We do our live streams, we do our updates through that as well. So stay tuned for more updates here as we go throughout the day. I think this will be our last kind of long form stream event that we're doing, at least for this particular First Alert event. So, of course, if you want to know some of the previous totals, we've covered everything here on our live stream. So if you're hopping on late, you're wanting to know numbers, go ahead and feel free to rewind. This live stream will be ending here in a couple minutes. So when it does end, of course, just kind of rewind back through, and of course, you can watch through. We covered all the numbers, answered every question. So again, newschannel10.com. That's going to be where you can, of course, check those closings for church businesses. We have gotten some news, maybe some Monday schedules being adjusted for Monday for schools as well. So for all of that, go to newschannel10.com. That's going to be your best resource here as we go throughout the day. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I am meteorologist Shelden Breshears. For those of you who may not know me, I'm the typical morning meteorologist, but of course, when weather calls, we check in from wherever. Doppler Dave will be on, of course, social media here throughout the day. He'll also be on your broadcasts on News Channel 10 going into this evening. And of course, you can watch us live on our website, newschannel10.com.